everybody, welcome back to Fiber Theory. Today what I'm going to do is teach you guys how to make this cute little beanie. I know that in the other videos I've already taught you how to make two different hats, but the reason I'm going to teach you how to make the beanie is because today I'm going to teach you how to crochet in the round. And that means that we're going to start at the very top of our project and then we're going to work around this way. It's really simple, it's not hard at all. It's still a very basic and very beginner part of crochet, so don't feel the least bit intimidated by it. It's not hard to do at all. And I think that you're really going to like it because this is going to use the stitches that I've already taught you how to use in the tutorials before this one. So you're going to learn how to use more than just one double crochet in one space to make a pattern. So you'll learn how to make V-stitches, and we'll use single crochets and double crochets, and we'll intermix them together to make this really cute pattern. All right, well, let's get started. For this project, you're going to need your choice of crochet hook. I'm actually choosing to use a size H, which is also a 5mm, or a size 8. And then I have this kind here that has the little leather, finger guard, which I actually kind of like this one because it makes so your finger can't slip. And I really like the ergonomic ability with this hook. If you hold your hook like a knife, this is perfect. If you hold it like a pen or pencil, this is just as easy. So I really like it. And you're going to need a decent pair of scissors. Now, I do recommend having sewing scissors of some kind because these are super, super sharp. And you want something sharp to get through your yarn, so or just a good pair of scissors, something that actually will cut and not split your yarn. All right, so let's get going here. So you need to have a ball of yarn. I don't care what kind of ball of yarn you have, just make sure it's something that works with the hook that you're going to use. On every single one of these little sleeves that comes on a ball of yarn like this, you'll have up here where it says hook size recommendation or knitting needles recommendation. For this one, it's recommending a size C hook, which is actually pretty small. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Let me see if I can focus better here. There we go. So here it says it wants a C hook. Now, to me, for me, it seems like that's a little bit too small. Your stitches will be very small with a size C. But then again, this is a much smaller weight of yarn. This is not a size 4 ply or DK weight. So you need to take that into consideration. A size H hook will work for this yarn. As you can see, that's exactly what I used for the hat. And actually what it's going to do is it's just going to make a little bit larger stitches for you. A little bit more airy, a little more stretchy. So, you don't have to go with the recommendation on the sleeve. You just kind of need to make that decision on your own. All right, let's get started. So what you need to do is if you already have a skein of yarn like this that doesn't have the beginning, you need to find your yarn on the inside. And sometimes what you have to do is just pull the inside. Unfortunately, you have to pull it out. Sometimes you just have to find the spot where it is. And not every single skein of yarn tells you where to pull from on the inside, so it's kind of a guessing game, unfortunately. You know what, we're just going to make this easy and just go from the outside. If you have a yarn bowl or something like that, or a little thing to set your yarn on that spins, I would say use that if you can. All right, so I'm going to choose to use this hook for now. And I'm going to interchange. I'm going to use the knife hold and the pen or pencil hold throughout, so that you can kind of, depending on what you do as a crocheter, this way you can see me doing the same way, and it might make more sense for you that way. All right, let's go ahead and make the slip knot first. One of the things that I want to show you before we even get started is there are 3 ways that you could do this. When you crochet in the round, you need to have one loop to work in. Now you can work in the loop that you've already created here as the slip knot and work inside that loop by chaining 1, 2, 3, and then making some double crochets into that very first space right here, and then just keep making double crochets inside that same space. And eventually what you're going to do is you're going to create this round piece. Now, as you can see, it's starting to round out. Okay, you just keep going and just keep going around and around until you get enough. I'm going to go ahead and put 12 total in here. I like to use 12 as a main guide because I can easily increase as I go around. So I have one, look at the chain that was made first, that three chain that you made, that's actually going to count as the first double crochet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then what you do, you say, well, now what do I do? I have to, you know, I want this to be round. Okay, well, see at the very, this is, okay, so we are at the beginning again where we started with the chain. What you want to do is find the very top chain space in your chain. Now, keep in mind that this is the chain and this is the first double crochet that you made. So you don't want to go into the top here because this right here is actually the top of this post. So you want to find the space over here somewhere. What I would do, because it's in the round, is I would go between the chain and this post here, just into that space, and just connect it there with a slip stitch. And the way that you slip stitch is this. You take your hook, put it in to that space like this, grab your yarn and pull it through, and then pull that yarn right here that you just pulled through that little loop. And that's how you make a slip stitch. Let's do it again so you can see it. Put your hook through that space, grab your yarn and pull it through. Take this loop over here with your hook and pull it through the back loop like this. And now you've connected your work. Now what I've done is I've only shown you one way to make something in the round, but you'll notice there's a big hole here. Now there's no way to close this up unless you, at the very end, when you're done with your project, you take this little piece of yarn right here on a needle and thread it through here and pull it tight. Now you can do that if you want to, but there's also two other ways you can do this. Let me show you the other two ways here. All right, starting again with the slip knot. All right, so the slip knot again, what we're going to do on this one is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go to the very beginning of the chain here, right here in this very first, the loop that you started out with, your actual slip knot, okay? That loop, you're going to go in there and slip stitch, which means you pull that yarn through and then through there. Now, this is a little more difficult to see, but you've just made a loop, and it's going to be hard to tell because it's so small. But there's a space right here, and this is what it is it's the space that you created when you brought that chain together. So you had your chain of 3, and then when you slip stitched here like this, you created a circle in the middle. What you'll do is chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to start double crocheting inside of that circle that you created. Not this one, okay? That right there is not your circle. Your circle is here, and you've got to kind of pull it apart a little bit to see it. But like I said, this is probably one of the more difficult ways to do this. You want to go right in the center and make your double crochet. Let me see if I can open that up with a double crochet. Okay, so I opened it up a little bit. Can you see that? So now you have your first double crochet inside the circle created by the chain. All right, so you can just keep doing that and going around, and I'll show you what it looks like size-wise at the end, because I want you to see the difference in the size of the hole that you're creating at the top. Now, if you're making a hat and you decide to put a pom-pom on top of this, it's not going to matter because the pom-pom is going to cover the hole. So if you decide to do it this way and you like it this way better, then, you know, by all means do it. You know, it's up to you. But keep in mind that there is one more way that you can do this and not have to worry about having a hole up there at all. Because if you decide not to put a pom-pom, you don't want that showing. Although this one's not bad. And the reason that this one's better is because it's more reinforced. You have an entire chain inside here that is holding those stitches, so your space is going to be smaller because there's nothing to pull. There's nothing to make wider. That chain space that you used on the last time we tried it out, that got bigger as we were going. This one here is going to stay the size. Okay, this isn't going to get any bigger, and this is going to be really easy to close up at the end of your project if you choose to. You don't have to, but you can. So anyway, then you would slip stitch this together here, and this is what you would have. So now I'm going to teach you the third way to do this, and this is my favorite, and this is what I use every single time, and it's called the magic loop. People have been very intimidated by trying magic loop, and there's really not any reason to be intimidated by it. It's not difficult. It's just a technique, and it's different. So rather than making a slip knot, what you're going to do is you're going to wrap this yarn around your fingers like this. Okay? I'm going to wrap it. Let's do that again. Start here, hold it like this, and go around the fingers like this, and come back up around and behind this one. You want the strand you start out with in the front, and then as you're coming around, you want the strand in the back. Go up underneath this first strand like this, grab that yarn in the back like this, and pull it through. Okay? Now, twist it like this. Just once you pull it through, twist it so that your fingers are facing that direction that way, and that your hook is facing that direction. Now, somehow, some way, you need to get your fingers out of here without undoing everything. So grab this and pull it off. Now you have this nice ring that you're going to work inside of. What you want to do to keep the ring together is hold it here, or hold it here, or hold it, find a place to hold it where you can then start crocheting into it. What you want to do is make sure that this is twisted, okay, because you want that to be, you don't want it open. If you have it this way, it's going to be a little more open. See that? It comes apart. If you're twisted like this, it's going to create a stitch, sort of. So what I do is I hold my work up here at the top, okay, when I'm making the chain. So grab that yarn and hold it here and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Once you have 3 chains, I want you to hold the work here, okay? And then inside of the space, I want you to make double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now remember that the chain we started out with right here is actually your very first double crochet, so you'll count that. So actually we're at number 4. 5, 6, 7. If it starts to get out of hand and it starts to open up on you, all you have to do, okay, if this space starts to get bigger, just put your finger in there and then pull this strand right here, okay? And now you can close it up a little bit. What number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you can start to hold the work over here and make it easier for yourself. 8, 9, oops, 9, 10, redo it again, 10, 11, and 12. All right. Now, here's a great thing about the magic loop. This strand right here, all you have to do is pull this like this, and your work closes, okay? Just like that. You pull it, not too tight, you don't want to break your yarn, but you pull it and it closes that space up for you. And then all you have to do is connect over here. Now, like I said before, you're going to find that space. Now I'm going to go between the chain space, this chain here, and the first double crochet that I created. I'm going to go between the two, right in there, put your hook through, grab that yarn, pull it through, and then pull it directly through that loop. And now you've connected your work. All right, let's continue on. Here's what we're going to do, and here's the math behind it. It's not difficult. If you can multiply, then you can do this. This is not difficult at all. All right. You're going to notice here that I have, this might look a little, this is probably very, very confusing. What we've done is we've started out with 12, okay? We have 12 double crochets here in the work. We're going to add 12 more to the next row. So that means that we're going to have 12 here, and then we're going to double the next round, which means that when we make 12 more in here, we're going to have 24 stitches. Now, the way we do that is by putting 2 double crochets, or what we call an increase. We put increases in every space around. So then you are literally making 12 doubled, and then you have 24 stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the same space, okay, right in here where you had your join, you're going to make another double crochet, and this is going to be your very first increase. Okay, so now you have the chain, which counts as 1 double crochet, and then you have the second one. And now in the next space, which actually is going to be on top of this post here, this little space right there, we're going to make 2 double crochets. 1, 2. And then we're going to do it again over here in the next post on the top in that space. 1, 2. So now you have these increases. And what's happening is now your disc is beginning to grow, and it is literally increasing. Now I'm going to let you finish this on your own, and when we get back to this side over here, I'll meet you back there. All right, so here we are at the end, and I'm going to make the last 2 double crochets with you into this space. All right, 1 and 2. And now before we do any connecting, we are going to go back and count to make sure we have the right amount of double crochets. The last thing we want is to be missing one, because then it's going to throw off our count for the next row. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. So we're perfect. Now we'll go in here and join. All right, so now for the next row, we've already done this one here. We're going to add 12 more to the next row. So that's going to give us 36 stitches. And the way that we do that is like this. We're going to do a chain of 3, and then we're going to make a double crochet in the same space that the chain 3 is made in, okay, for that increase that we had like last time. In the next post over in the top, we're going to do 1 double crochet. In the next post over, we're going to do an increase, 2 double crochets, 1, 2. In the next post, we're going to do 1 double crochet. In the next post, we're going to do 2 double crochets for an increase. So this is the pattern. We have 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we'll have 1 here. And this is how we're going to create the 36 stitches. So go ahead and work your increases and your 1 double crochet between, and I will meet you back at the other end. Okay, now that we're at the end, I'm going to make this very last stitch with you. When you get to this space here, you need to end with 1 double crochet. The reason that you want 1 here is because the next one over here, after you connect, this is 2. You want the pattern to be flush. You want it to be symmetrical all the way around. So before we continue, we're going to count our stitches. We're going to have 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so as long as your pattern is correct, you have the right amount of stitches. If you want to, you can go back and just count, make sure you have 36. And as long as your pattern is correct, you have 36 stitches. All right, now moving on to the next bit here. All right, so we've done 36. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to add 12 more to the next round, okay? And that's going to give us 48 stitches. And the way that we do that, first we are going to go in here and make our little slip stitch, just like that. And we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And like before, we're going to make our first double crochet in the same space that our chain is coming out of, which makes our first increase. Now before, what we did is we did 1 and then 2. This one we're going to do 1 and then 1 and then 2. All right, so we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next post, 1 double crochet in the next post. Now you have 2 and then 1 and then 1. And then you're going to do an increase in the next one. 2 double crochets, 1, 2. So now the pattern is 2, 1, 1, 2. So we just did 2, we'll do 1 here, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So the pattern is 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Now go ahead and do your own work from here to the other side, and then when we get back to the beginning, I'm going to meet you back and we're going to do the last stitch together. Alright you guys, so we're at the last 3 stitches. The reason I kept the last 3 stitches in here like this is because I want to work these with you. We're going to continue on with the pattern obviously, and I want to show you how to end it. So we're going to do an increase here because you want to have your 2 single double crochets here next to this 2 double crochets here. So you have 2 here, 2 here, and you need to have 2 single double crochets in the middle. So here's 1 and then 1, and now your pattern is exact. Now go in here between the 2 posts and grab that yarn and pull through that loop and make a slip stitch. Now moving on, we have our 48 stitches, and I'm not going to go back and count them with you. I've already counted mine. What we're going to do now is go in and we're going to add 12 more to the last row. This is the last row of our increase. When we make that 12, we're going to have 60 stitches. And so what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, make our very first double crochet in that same space. Now, I want you to see the pattern here. In this row, we had 12. We had 24 here where we had 2 in every one. And then we did 2 and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And we did 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. And now in this one, we're going to do 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. So now we're going to have 3 double crochets between the increases on this row. Over here, we had one double crochet between the increases. Here we had 2 separate double crochets between the increases. This one we have 3 separate double crochets between the increases. And this is how you can keep track of this. Alright, so we have our first increase. Now we're going to make our first double crochet in the next post. And then another double crochet in the next post. And the next post gets double crochet. And now you have an increase and then 1, 2, 3. In the next, can you guess it? It's going to be an increase. So make 2 double crochets there. And then in the next 3, you're going to do 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then you're going to do an increase. So 1, 2, 3, and then your increase. So now that your work is growing, you're going to want to pay more attention and make sure that you have the right amount of stitches around. I would go back and count as I'm going just to make sure that you don't miss anything. That way you don't have to rip out the entire row if you made a mistake over here. Just start counting. There's an increase, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3. Anyway, just keep doing that, and then when we get to the other side, back to the beginning, I will meet you back there. All right, guys, so I've come back here with the very last 4 spaces untouched, and we're going to do these together. You just ended with 3 single double crochets. The next one is your increase, 1, 2, and then you're going to have your next 3 single double crochets here. So now you have your very last 3 double crochets between your 2 increases. So here's an increase, and there are your 3 double crochets over here. Now go ahead and connect that with your slip stitch, just like that, and you are finished. Okay, y'all, now that you're done with your increases, we're going to go ahead and go to video number 2, and I'm going to teach you how to make the body of this hat.